Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about how to make your own substances. I'm going to talk about two substances. One of them is called cannabis, and the other one is called alcohol. I want to say that first of all, if you are not old enough to do this, obviously don't. If it's not legal to do this where you live, then don't. But it's legal where I live to do this, and I am old enough. The second thing I'll say is that cannabis is a much better substance than alcohol, and the only reason I include the alcohol in this guide is just because I know that some people just prefer it, and I really don't judge them for that, even though I know that it's not a superior substance. So for cannabis and for tobacco, you can just grow it, right? You can just grow it. You have to read the instructions on how to do it. One thing with growing cannabis is you can get these things called mites. They're like little spiders that can mess up your cannabis. If you grow it wrong, you won't get any of the substance that you would need to smoke. And then also, if you don't dry it out, then it will make you sick when you smoke it. So there you go. But if you go look on the internet, there's plenty of guides for how to grow it. And honestly, like really, really dumb people succeed at growing marijuana, so you can as well, right? If it's legal where you live. Um, this you don't really need to grow a lot of it. It'll last. I mean, if you're someone who just smokes and smokes and smokes and smokes and smokes like a pig, then obviously it's not going to last you long. But you're really someone like me who's like more conservative with how much I smoke. You really don't need that much in order to grow it, and it's pretty basic stuff. Same with tobacco. You may wonder like how do I like I don't like rolling my own cigarettes. I don't like rolling my own tobacco. Just use a pipe. Just use a clay pipe is probably the best way to do it. When your clay pipe finally breaks, you can throw it on the ground and it'll just turn back into earth. So a long clay pipe with a long handle, the long handle like smooths out the smoke, and so it makes it real smooth. So just get a long clay pipe and grow your own tobacco, grow your own uh, cannabis, and just make sure you look up how to process it properly and how to grow it properly. Obviously, because if you don't do any research at all, you might have run into some trouble, right? Or it could make you sick. Um, Obviously, consult a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so consult a doctor before you take these things. Let's say that you like alcohol. Alcohol is probably like the most overrated drug there is. But uh, let's say that you want to, make it right. I would say the easiest possible way is in a jug. So there's this way that French people used to make wine, and this is pretty much the easiest way to make alcohol. You usually get grapes, but you can really use lots of different kinds of fruit or like discounted fruit at the store. And there's a way, like just look up like I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I don't really know, but I've seen it done. It's very easy to do. It's so ridiculously easy to do that like every single person in France used to do this at their house. Like with this, you get a big ceramic jug, and there's a way to brew wine in it, and it's very ridiculously easy to make wine. And it's so easy that like I guarantee you that you can do it. Like really, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to prisoners, but like sometimes really dumb prisoners in prison are able to succeed at making this out of like scraps that they find in the prison. So it's like very easy. It's very ridiculously easy to make wine in a jug. So just look up the way that French people make wine, and you might say like, "Oh, I don't prefer wine. That's not my favorite alcohol." Well then go get your alcohol at the store then and pay a bunch of money. See if I care. I don't care. I'm just trying to teach you the cheap, easy way to do it. If you don't like that, you can go pound sand. I don't care. Anyway, that's my guide. Don't do drugs. Obviously, if you're someone who's never done drugs, don't. If you're a young person looking at this and you're like, oh, maybe I should start doing drugs. Don't. It's not a good thing to start. It's expensive, time consuming, it's bad for you. But if you're someone who already does drugs, if you're someone who already is consuming substances, you might want to switch to one of these three substances. Probably cannabis is, in my personal opinion, I'm not a doctor, but in my personal opinion, cannabis is the best drug if you're going to do some drug. And growing it is just the cheapest way. The absolute best that you can the best that you could probably ever do in terms of drugs is just growing cannabis if that's legal where you live. Now it's not currently, I don't know if it's legal where I live to grow mushrooms, but they're like working on making it legal, so that might be a possibility for me soon. Bear in mind, out of all the drugs that I listed, mushrooms are like way different and way more dangerous and should be taken with care, and you should do some research, and you can get into a lot more trouble growing mushrooms if you're not careful with it. Not only trouble with the law, but you could get sick from it. So you really need to do your research on when you produce any kind of thing that goes into your body. You want, even if you're just growing food, you want to do a little bit of research before you just put that in your body, right? And consult a doctor, obviously follow the laws where you live. But I mean, like, if you live in many states in America where there's medical cannabis, and if you have your own place to yourself, no one's probably going to care if you have a little jug in the corner where you're brewing some home wine, as long as you're not selling it, as long as you're not getting greedy and selling it. That's the main thing that they don't want. They don't want you selling it, right? I'm not suggesting that you go and make all this stuff and sell it, because you're not legally allowed to, and you will get in trouble. It is illegal. But if it's just in the corner of your building that you're growing a little bit of tobacco, growing a little cannabis, and if you're making your own wine in a jug in the corner, that's generally not frowned upon too much by the state, as long as you just only consume it yourself, don't sell it, and that's the way to go. So that's just the cheapest way to kind of get the kind of substances that a lot of people like consuming. Anything else outside of that list that I said, even with the mushrooms, anything outside of that list, I would say is dangerous. And again, I'm not a doctor, but in my personal opinion, you shouldn't put any substance into your body that's not from nature. So like any kind of synthetic drug that's not recommended by a doctor, then I wouldn't put that in your body. Nothing synthetic. Just only natural stuff. Anyway, there you go.